Welcome back to Culture Cast. I think this is episode 6 or 7. I forgot to count. Apologies.
Six.
Where
I believe it's six.
you're probably right.
I believe. I could be off.
Yeah, the host should know, but the host does not know. And the host is going to keep this in because you take those punches. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I did want to start it off before anything. Wanted to give well wishes out to Bronny and the LeBron James family. Scary situation, having suffering a cardiac arrest at UFC. Just today, came out of the hospital. Everything seems to be good. LeBron tweeted out, thank you for all the well wishes and whatnot to everybody, and things seem to be fine. So that's great. Stuff like that is very scary for someone so young. It's just and honestly, peak athletic condition and athletic form. We know LeBron's meticulous about his health, so I imagine Bronny is too. So something like that, I can't imagine how scary it is for him and Savannah and just the whole family in general. But glad to hear that he's doing okay. Scary situation. So best of luck to him in the future, and hopefully everything continues to be on the up and up. Moving on to kind of just actually get started with this. Thank you again, Don, for coming on. Got a few things to talk about here. Kind of sorted some stuff out beforehand just because, like we've talked about, this is kind of the calm before the start of the season. There's not too much going on. Dom, thankfully, so we didn't have like a 5-minute podcast, brought up the fact that FIBA is going on. And I had completely forgotten about it because FIBA, there's never really any advertising for it. It's not like the Olympics. It should be, but it's not. Nor is it like Summer League, which got a ton of attention. So it's one of those things that tends to just happen and pass me by. But Don brought it up, and it's a good thing to talk about. So we'll be getting into that. But I did want to start off with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown signing the biggest deal in NBA history, financially speaking. 5 years, $304 million supermax with the Boston Celtics. Let's just get right into it, man. What do you think?
I think you're in a situation as Boston. You have your hands behind your back. You either pay the man or you lose him. I guess you take the bullet and you pay the man. You are a little bit strapped on salary now in the upcoming future. With the new CBA in place, we'll see how this goes. It's a bullet to bite, man, because in the last year it's $70 million. So it's a lot of payroll right there. It's a lot of money. Just one contract right there, eating all that up. But I get it. But at the same time, it sucks having to do this. These supermaxes, man, they seem to be negatives as of the ones we've seen. Westbrook, John Wall.
Yeah, John Walls, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they're bad. And think about it. That back then, that was only 40 million for the last year, and this is 3 times that, or not 3 times, 30 million more. It's a bit it's a bit much. But I mean, good for Jaylen Brown. Good on the player. Can't really blame the man. 300 million. I would sign that in a heartbeat. Also.
Yeah, it's always congrats on the bag. But
oh yeah, congrats on that.
My God, the robbery. It's
yeah.
we were talking beforehand. Normally when guys sign deals, if it's a respectable, like I'll keep going back to the Austin Reeves one. That's a respectable deal. It's not an overpay. We expected an overpay.
Yeah.
Of like 100 million.
Yeah.
What did he sign for? It was like 50 something million, I think it was.
Might be 56, 4 years.
Yeah, it was way cheaper than expected.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what he's probably worth. That's a legitimate, like numbers to money ratio. It's not an overshoot or an undershoot. And a lot of these contracts are the opposite of that, where it's guys who, even if they're good players, Bradley Beal, damn good player, Jaylen Brown, damn good. Yeah. These contracts are absurd.
Yeah.
304 million. There are 3 players on the planet right now that are worthy of that contract. Yeah. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
3 guys. I don't think there's a single player else that's
Maybe
worth
Jokic.
that kind of. I totally forgot to say Jokic. Jokic, like those dudes,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah, it's exclusive. That's exclusive company. No one else deserves that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't even sneak Embiid in there. It's just
No.
like that's
Yeah.
so much goddamn
That's a
money.
lot. That's a lot of
And
money.
Jaylen Brown's not even the number one in Boston. He's
No.
the number 2 guy.
Yeah. Oh, hey, next year though too, you got to pay Tatum the supermax.
What is Tatum gonna make 310? Like now what do you do? Bump it
Yeah.
up to 400, dude. Fuck it, right? It's like that's an
Oh man.
atrocious contract, and frankly, like we were, I want to get into the advanced numbers just a little bit. Um, it, it's a ridiculous contract. In no way I would have laughed at Jaylen Brown and said you could go fuck yourself. I'm not giving you that kind of money. Who do you think you
Oh
are?
man. Yeah,
Like,
that's a lot,
I
man.
don't think I'd give Prime Jordan that money if I'm being honest. It's like 300 million, dude, for 5 years. If he was like over 7 or 8, then it's like, okay, well, let's think about that. Maybe that's still
Yeah.
absurd, but
Oh, absurd money. No.
stretch out the money a bit, understandable. But 5 year, oh hell no, bro.
Yeah.
You're high.
70, man. Yeah, last year 70 mil.
Yeah. So I did want to get into the advanced stats, and I only wanted to bring up a few because I only think a few are worth it for Jaylen Brown because he's kind of a linear, relatively one-dimensional player. He's
Yeah.
a scorer, and he's kind of a defender. His defense gets blown way out of proportion,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about that a bit. But number one, true shooting percentage. Using John Hollinger's statistics, his advanced stats, I wanted to bring up true shooting. No one's ever considered Jaylen Brown to be this like hyper efficient player, but compared to shooting guards, like his peers, these are like positionally, this is what that money's being compared to. Amongst true shooting percentage, how that goes, Jaylen Brown is ranked, what is it? 35th amongst shooting guards in true shooting percentage. 35th. That's not good. And we were just talking about him. Number one in true shooting percentage amongst shooting guards is Austin Reeves at 68.7. Okay. That's way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
That is some.
The second number I wanted to go over is turnover ratio. Turnover ratio is a big thing, and it's kind of what cost the Celtics in the last couple of years of the playoffs. And this past year against the Heat, Jaylen Brown in particular was just killer because of turnovers. We all know the lower your turnover ratio, the better. Like you don't want to be turning the ball over a lot. It's not looking good for Jaylen Brown. Amongst his position, he is ranked 62nd in turnovers. In his turnover ratio, he averages 10 for shooting guards as a turnover. That's horrid. 62nd amongst his position. Not good. Not good at all. And then third, which is what we talked about to start this, is PER, player efficiency rating. This is one of the best metrics we use in terms of like cumulative stats. He's ranked 6th among shooting guards. And I think the list above him speaks volumes as to where Jaylen Brown really is in this league. Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell has the highest PER among shooting guards at 23-2 or 23-1. Devin Booker is number 2 in player efficiency rating. James Harden is number 3. Bradley Beal is number 4. And Desmond Bane is number 5. All of these dudes, huge max contracts, all of these dudes, aside from maybe Desmond Bane, are far better players than Jaylen Brown. Like maybe Bradley Beal is below him.
As of right now, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Other than that, Jaylen Brown is just genuinely behind for a lot of these dudes.
Yeah.
And I was telling Dom before we started, it's like with a contract like this, I'm going to be petty. I'm going to nitpick and I'm going to be petty because that is insane levels of wealth. And bro, you got to be worth it. You know, again, there are a few guys in this league that's justifiable.
Yeah.
He ain't one of them. Not even top 15 in terms of making that money. And what you brought up beforehand was usage rate, which wasn't in the Hollinger statistics, unfortunately. But according to StatMuse, he's what is it again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th in usage rate in basketball. Only 3 behind his teammate, the number 1 option in Boston, Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
9th in usage rate at 31.4%. That is so much control of the ball.
Yeah.
You know, to not even be top 5 at your own position in PER. Your turnover ratio is one of the worst. I don't know, man. I know you started this off, but I need some more, man. Like how are you looking at this and thinking this is like what are some more thoughts on this?
It's just I mean, yeah, it's just the value's just it's not there. It doesn't match the salary whatsoever. If you're like on a baseball trading website, it'll be negative value. This is negative value right here, man. It's too bad that this happened to Boston. Like, I'm not a big Boston fan. I kind of despise them, but at the same time, it's like, man, this is a bullet to bite, man. This is tough. You are strapped with this contract. Not with the mention, like Tatum's going to get this same contract next year, and you have to match Tatum. You have to give it to Tatum. I understand if you gave it to Tatum more so than Brown.
Exactly, because you can afford Brown to walk. I don't think you can afford Tatum to walk. Tatum is a true superstar.
I think that is still an overpay for Tatum, but even then, you have to pay Tatum. So you're looking at 305. We'll say next year it goes up just 310. That's $600 million strapped up in just 2 players, more than $500 million. It's just it's crazy, man. Like, it makes me wonder what contracts look like in the next 10 years. Like, because 2016 we thought 35, was it 30? No, was it 30 for Mike Conley? 30 million a year.
It was something like that, and he was injury prone, so it was like,
and we thought that was 30 million was that was
a lot of money.
That was so insane. Nowadays, you look at 30 million, you're like, whatever.
Yeah, like
all right, I've seen that a lot.
B-tier dudes get that kind of money. Yeah,
like to see this is just a whole new level. I mean, it's crazy to me, but there's not really much else I can say. It's just like it's obviously it'll be the worst contract in the next 2 to 3 years. Like, hands down. No, hands down.
And the thing that's like kind of interesting to me, or it's kind of making me think about, is it's like, you know, for the last 3-4 years, there's been this debate about whose team it is in Boston.
Yeah.
There's the consensus that it's Jason Tatum's, and then there's consensus that I don't know whose team it is because no one seems to step up when it matters.
Yeah.
And to me, like, I guess if we had to, you know, really analyze this, could this be an indication from Boston? You know, we're saying you're gonna have to pay Tatum at least 310 because if you're saying he's your team, you can't have him make the second most money. That's just not. It's not gonna work like that. Like, are they maybe saying, hey, we're okay with losing Jason Tatum? We think we can replicate what he can do.
I think they have to. I don't think there's any way they can let him walk.
It seems like it's one or the other. Yeah. It's like you either get
to eat that salary. That's all I think it is. I just think they're going to have, I think they're just willing to eat that. I don't think there's any other way around it. Like,
yeah, it feels like you're either going to have to just it's going to be a 2-man squad. It feels like it. It's because how can you get quality role players with that level of money? Yeah, it's like it's not even a Phoenix situation where it's like this is the best spot for a championship. Let's go there.
Does Jaylen Brown get any better either? That's the question. You know, like, is he 26 right now? I believe.
Been the same player since he came into the league.
Yeah.
Good scorer, good defense. But he hasn't excelled in any other categories. He's still virtually the same dude. Yeah, Tatum. Still virtually the same dude. I would
Yeah.
say maybe gotten better as as like an ISO scorer,
Yeah.
but
A better playmaker than when he came in too, from what
yeah,
I've seen.
but
Defensively too, I would say.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely improved defensively. But
Yeah.
you brought up playmaking. That's ironically their number one issue.
Oh, that's
It's
it.
like that,
Yeah.
and if you're investing all of your funds into the forward positions, or
Wings, yeah.
Jaylen Brown's also a shooting guard.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's hard to really put in quality money into the point guard. And I know they've got Malcolm Brogdon, but as we've talked about, it's like they
He
don't
got
seem
announced
to.
yesterday. Derek White.
What happened?
He got announced yesterday as the starter. Derek White. I think.
Really?
Yeah, it came out yesterday. He
Wow,
got announced as the starter.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that again, that like you're not answering the issues. You're not following what you need to do. And Derek White is a damn good role
Oh,
player, but
great role player. Yeah. Big
like
time.
you need a point guard. You can't keep doing these converted shooting guards at point guard, these converted scorers to play make like just it doesn't make sense. The same thing keeps plaguing you every year, and they refuse to address it. So yeah, next year is going to be very, very crucial. As far as the Celtics go, just getting on the right track. So, Jaylen Brown, man, that's an overpay if I've ever seen one. Congrats to him for making the
Congrats.
most money of any player in a singular contract in NBA history. But my
Generational
fucking
work.
God, yeah, if he's religious, you better pray your little ass off, because that is someone was working miracles for you to get that kind of money.
Oh yeah,
Um,
something. Yeah, confirmed by Brian Robb that Derek White will start at point guard next season. So
okay, wow.
there we go.
So
The same guy
yeah,
that's running the show. Same too, point guard.
yep, not there. They're not making any changes there. And like at the deadline, like we said, I mean, now do you even have the money? They
That
don't have the depth. They don't have the draft picks. Do you have anything that could really bring in maybe a Tyus Jones? I don't think so. I think they're kind of stuck. It's like, okay, make it work. We
yeah,
got you, Porzingis. Make it work.
yeah.
So yeah, moving on into FIBA, the FIBA World Cup for basketball, 2023. It's going to be starting soon. I know I think the original, or like the qualifier games and stuff have already happened.
Yeah.
But the official cup is going to start soon. So we brought up a few teams to talk about. And the first one we'll start with, Dom, is Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
The DR, they've got some guys. They've got an interesting squad going on. Let me know what you're thinking about them. How do you see it going on?
So Cat and Horford recently are playing for them. They just qualify or are joining them. Chris
Yeah.
Duarte, very solid NBA player. So you got one star that's I don't remember if he played for them last time or not. I don't remember off the top of my head because I don't remember the
True.
minutes last time. Let me check. They have everyone else on this team I'm not very familiar with.
Yeah, a lot of these dudes seem to be local hoopers, which
Yeah,
is cool.
no,
Yeah.
that is really cool. Yeah. Oh, Lester Quinones. He's
Yep.
another one that's on the team. So they have a pretty
Warriors too.
solid team compared to a lot of other teams, to be honest. It looks like they said they beat who'd they beat in the fans will look like during their preparation games when they face Puerto Rico, Latvia, Spain, and Canada. They will
Okay.
head to Manila. They're in Group A against Angola, Italy, and co-host Philippines. Okay.
Philippines are interesting. Jordan Clarkson's there. No Jalen
Yeah,
Green, surprisingly.
they don't?
Not Jalen Green, no. I thought he'd be there because I remember a year or two, I think it was last year, Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Green are two of the only Filipino players in the NBA.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised he isn't on that team. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, the DR is going to be an interesting squad.
Yeah.
Duarte, great player, just signed or got traded to the Kings. I forget which one.
Traded, yeah.
Yeah. LJ Figueroa is also an NBA player. I think
Right.
he's a G Leaguer, if I'm not mistaken.
That name did sound familiar.
Yeah. I forget who he plays for, but He might have. I think he even spent time with the G League Warriors, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
Lester Quinones, two-way contract with the Warriors, obviously. Cat, he'll be playing one of the better centers in this league, top
Yeah.
five. Horford had an absolute resurgence back with Boston these last couple of years. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what he's looking like there. But yeah, DR, interesting. You know, soccer and baseball or football and baseball. Obviously, those are when you think of the
Killing it.
DR sports,
Yeah.
that's where you're thinking. But they got some hoopers.
They got some hoopers. Yeah. They're coming up.
Yeah, I hope I wish like basketball really got, it's easy to say, spread basketball everywhere, but I
Yeah.
do wish basketball was more serious sport in a lot of these other countries, at least as far as like NBA scouts trying to go and, not poach talent, but just try to find some outside guys.
Yeah.
Obviously Europe is getting a lot of love lately, but
Big
I think
time.
there's a lot of good players out there that, hopefully something like FIBA can show some more talent. So
Yeah.
um
Definitely.
another team, Canada. They're the juggernaut, it seems.
Yeah.
Uh, just go over the roster real quick, and then let you go because there's a few of those guys. They're on your squad.
Yeah.
Nikhil Alexander Walker, great young player, plays for the Wolves. I'm pretty positive still.
Yeah.
Traded last year. RJ Barrett for the Knicks, one of the better young up and coming shooting guards. Trey Bell Hands, I think he recently got drafted. I think sounds familiar. I could be wrong. Um, O'Shea Brissett, solid role player. Dylan
Boston.
Brooks Boston.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks just got signed by the Rockets. The meme of the league.
Forgot he was from Canada.
Yeah, I did too. Lou Dort, also someone I didn't know was from Canada. He's on your squad. Yeah. Uh, Zach Edey, the big center that just got drafted.
Yep.
Big time rebounder. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, your guy. Corey Joseph, Warriors just signed him. Jamal Murray just won a chip.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk, one of the best backup bigs in the league.
Yeah.
Dwight Powell, one of the better backup bigs in the league.
Yeah.
Like they got themselves a fucking squad, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably have the most participation of NBA talent too, which I think is the biggest thing. And it's nice to see it. As a baseball fan, I don't know if you watched the WBC.
I did. I watched a good amount of it. Yeah.
This was the first time we've seen the US really take it seriously.
Yeah.
Typically the US just doesn't really give a fuck about the WBC. Every other country, like for them, that's the World Series.
Yeah, no.
For US baseball fans,
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Who's pitching? Phil Bickford? I'm not watching this. It's like no one really cares. When the US is playing in the WBC. This year, everyone showed out.
They had a squad, man.
They had a squad. Yeah.
They got beat by Japan. So
yeah. Who's got a squad and a half.
Yeah. Mexico too, man. Mexico was fun.
Mexico is damn good. Obviously, you can't talk about the WBC without those Great Britain unis, but
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it sucks that as far as the FIBA goes, the US
not the
doesn't
same
really
impact.
seem to.
Doesn't get the. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Only like we were saying beforehand, aside from like I guess Paolo, maybe still worldwide. Is he that big? No. I don't think so.
Edwards, I don't think yet. I think will be.
Like Brandon Ingram's probably the biggest name there, but even then, he's still
I don't think so.
like more of a household name. I'd think. Like, it kind of sucks to see the U.S.
superstars.
Yeah, no one seems to really be caring.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. When the Olympics come around, then we see the U.S. shows out and everybody's playing and all that.
You'll see the bookers. You'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But FIBA, not so much. And so, it makes sense as to why there's not as much advertising. But yeah, moving on from Canada, we just briefly wanted to bring up Slovenia, Luka Doncic. Yeah. That's going to be fun. It's hilarious that Slovenia is pretty much what feels like the Mavericks as is it's just Luka versus all, obviously
Yeah.
now they, keep Kyrie, but it's still, that's kind of funny. It's going to be the same dynamic. Probably not. I mean, Luka's probably going to be a lot more passive, for his home country, but
Yeah.
Greece, the Antetokounmpo brothers, that's going to be hilarious. I don't
Yeah.
like, I imagine they've got to do at least one starting lineup where all three of them are playing. That's going to be great. Australia, as far as like worldwide basketball goes,
They're up
Australia
there,
is
man.
like, yeah,
They're
aside
good.
from Europe, they're the premier place for basketball.
They're the best league in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's the NBL. Is that what it's called?
yep, LaMelo played there before getting drafted. A lot
RJ
of Aussies come
Hampton,
in. RJ,
a few
um,
different people. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
Dyson Daniels,
Baines too, I believe, still
Aaron
plays there.
Baines.
He plays there
Yeah,
right
he did after he had
now.
suffered
He
the
had a stroke, right?
stroke. Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then went back down to Australia. But Jock Landale,
Yeah.
he's played in that league. So,
Patty Mills, but
um,
I know he's not the same as he was. But he was good
no,
at the
he was a
Olympics.
fucking legend in the Olympics, dude.
121 Olympics, man. He was killing everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Australia is one of the teams that is
Oh yeah.
always fun to watch. They
France?
love it. France has themselves a bit of a squad.
I don't know about
Um,
Spain this year. I don't know if they're even in it.
Spain's in it.
Yeah, they are. Okay. I don't
Alex
know if they're even
Abrinas,
in. Oh, and
Santi
yeah,
Aldama,
Thunder Legend.
um, Usman Garuba, recent
Okay.
draft pick. Want the Hernan Gomez brothers.
Okay. Yeah. Juancho.
Rubio is playing, so that's it's always fun.
Yeah.
Um, as far as France goes, you brought up France. Batum, Nicholas
Yeah.
Batum will be playing. Evan Fournier. I'm interested. I'll be watching France because I'm interested to see what Evan Fournier is looking like. He hasn't really played too much the last
The
year and a
last
half.
few years. Yeah.
The Knicks have kind of just like blackballed him, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's a Thibodeau way, man. It's like, oh, turnover,
Yeah.
you're on the bench. Good luck seeing any minutes. Rudy Gobert will be playing.
Yeah.
Frank Ntilikina,
Yeah.
okay, backup guard, never really lived up to the hype, but granted, he got way overhyped when he was drafted.
Yeah. By the what, eighth overall by the Knicks, I think.
Yeah,
Seventh, something. Yeah, it wasn't great.
yeah. So France will be interesting. Lauri Markkinen will be playing for Finland.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big story going into the offseason was Markkinen is going to be
Military.
serving in the military. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting dynamics in other countries for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really see many people in the US, like aside from the fact that there's some, benefits that could come from it. You don't see many people like, yeah, let's go into the military here. It's like, well, you sign up here, that's because you're going to war, you're going to do some fighting. So, good to see that Lauri's back playing basketball. Hopefully
Oh
everything's
yeah.
well there. But yeah, FIBA is going to be interesting. I am going to be checking some of it out. I don't know if I'll be watching all of it, but
Yeah.
definitely be, taking a little look at some stuff. Brazil, I also kind of want to see because Gui Santos is going to be playing.
Okay.
That's a big thing for me because the last game Gui played in Summer League, it looked like he fucked up his collarbone. And I was like, oh shit, you don't want to see that happen because he's someone I think could be on the roster. So
Yeah.
not even just Santa Cruz, but the legit roster. So I hope he's good, and I'm excited to see him play. Um, who else is on that team? I think it's just Gee.
Oh,
Yeah,
still, yeah. I
Bruno Cabalco's playing.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Cristiano
Probably.
Felicio.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Bulls guy. Bulls legend.
yeah. Um, that seems to be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And we were talking about Australia. Josh Giddey is also going to be playing,
Yes, you are right. Yes. 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 How could I forget?
and
He,
Thon Maker. Thon Maker's
yeah.
Australian.
He's originally from Sudan, but he finished out his like high school years, and I think earlier than that
Hmm.
in Australia.
Interesting. Probably chose there because they're the ones playing. So makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. FIBA's going to be fun. I hope just to see some good basketball. And like I said, it'd be really cool to come out of there and then recognize some names that weren't on teams and,
Yeah.
someone with an open two-way spot. It's like, hey, come hoop,
Yeah.
let's take a
Yep.
shot.
Yeah.
Always cool to see that. And who knows what we could get as far as like some more out of country talent. So
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great. Great for basketball.
yeah, it's keep spreading the game, man.
Sure.
They're
Keep
doing
on
it with
trying.
baseball. They're doing it with football. I hope basketball continues.
Yeah, big
Um,
time.
to end off the podcast here, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Chicago Bulls. Before we started everything, Dominic brought up Ayo Dosunmu, who recently got re-signed by the Bulls last week or the week before to I think a 3-year deal. Ayo's a great backup point guard, but the Bulls are in an interesting situation. I think after this past year, with Vucevic kind of being up for grabs, Kobe White being up for grabs, it kind of felt like it was time to get rid of guys and blow the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Um, they did the opposite. They're leaning into it and they're
Run it
really
back.
gonna try and go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we talked a little bit about the brief success they had a
Yeah.
lot to do with Lonzo Ball.
Big time.
Um,
Big
and
time.
Lonzo, just the really odd, mysterious knee injury.
Yeah.
I feel really bad because this is like a career-ending thing,
Yeah.
and not only a career-ending thing, but a genuine like problem that could plague him for the rest of his life. Like
Yeah. Not even in
his
basketball.
knee is
Yeah.
just destroyed. I don't know what the hell happened, but
Yeah.
very scary situation. I hope he's just okay. But they've really gone hog wild and signing and re-signing their point guards.
Yeah.
It it's interesting because not a lot of them are scorers aside from Kobe White to an
Yeah.
extent, but he's more of just an outside guy.
Yeah.
Devon Carter's got some ability. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. What are your thoughts on the Bulls going into next year?
Yeah. So you don't even have your draft pick because of the Nikola Vucevic trade. The Magic have your pick. They get your pick. They pick at 12, which
Yeah,
or 11, I believe. It's a tough situation. You end up paying Vucevic, who was not great last year. You ended up fixing your defensive woes middle of the year. They went from being one of the worst, and they finished out the year number one in defensive rating.
yeah,
They they got Patrick Beverly, and then he's on the Sixers now, but they have an interesting roster. You run DeMar DeRozan at the 4 at times. You
yeah,
run like a weird small ball lineup. You have a bunch of guards who I've seen run anywhere to the 3. You have Levine, who's obviously finished off the year super strong, and I was very happy to see that. I thought he's plagued from injuries in the beginning, finished out the year great, so that's something I'll look out for sure. Zach Levine. Patrick Williams is another guy that's kind of a question mark. He's interesting. He's an interesting wing, but I don't think he really fits on that roster. Maybe a change of scenery for him. Something else is. I believe this is his 4th year now, and
yeah,
he hasn't gone crazy better, but he's a very contributing player. Um, he got a bunch of guards. So that's something that we'll have to see. Maybe they unload some of these guards. I don't think they will. I mean, maybe I don't know. They're all on decent deals. They're not on horrible deals. I think Kobe White got paid decently.
yeah. What
Uh,
was it, like 33 million or something?
yeah, it wasn't a crazy bit, but
80 million now, something like that.
Io was it 7 million a year? Is it 3 or 21?
Yeah, it was pretty. It was cheap.
Reasonable, very reasonable. So, and I know he struggled a lot last year, so that's something that probably hurt his value a bit. But aside from that, you have a very interesting roster going forward. I don't think you're really a contender in any way, shape, or form,
No,
but you maybe make some moves. I mean, DeMar is 33 to 34 years old now, so he's your
yeah.
star. So we'll have to see what they do from here. I'm interested, but at the same time, I think you kind of played your hand a bad way, and I feel kind of bad for him.
All right, we just took a break and pretty spicy one, if I'm being frank. But to continue where we left off, the Chicago Bulls, uh, no man's land. Too good to be bad, too bad to be good. They're kind of just in a rough spot. Not a lot of funds to work with here. Not a lot of picks. Not a lot of roster diversity that could match up against the other best teams in the league. The Bulls are in a weird spot. I don't know how much more can you really milk out of this team. I think what we've seen is that Zach LaVine has a ceiling. I think when they made these initial moves a few years back to bring in Vucevic, to initially sign DeMar DeRozan, it was under the assumption that Zach LaVine was heading into superstar territory. And I think he's kind of capped at like all-star star status of like really quality scorer, okay, not that great defender, not even on Jaylen Brown's level, just kind of a solid defender. Not a great rebounder, not a great playmaker, just kind of a scorer and an athlete. DeMar DeRozan came in and clearly became the number one on the team. So, you know, you started this off as far as like where you're seeing the Bulls. You know, do you see any direction moving forward where there's a move to be made to either get this thing, you know, on contention territory or, you know, maybe hit the reset button?
I mean, the easiest thing to do is probably hit the reset button. Like most definitely. Any moves they can make, I'm trying to think. I mean, you kind of made it interesting by re-signing Vooch. I don't know why you necessarily did that, but at the same time, I guess I understand. You don't want to lose him for nothing when you lost Franz Wagner out of it. You lost Franz Wagner, you lost Jet Howard, and then now you lost. Yeah, so at that point, and Wendell Carter, by the way, who's
been fantastic for Orlando.
Not that far off, probably better for being honest. So you lost a lot of value in that trade, so I guess you don't want to take the L or just get nothing for it completely. So I understand that in a way. You have Zach LaVine. He's been rumored in a few trades this offseason.
Last couple of years,
right? I think I kept seeing the Knicks, but I don't think he's interested in the Knicks.
I've seen the Knicks last year. I saw the Mavericks as a big one. Yeah, I've seen the Blazers at points. Like he's been in rumors for a while.
Yeah. DeMar is kind of at an age where he might be kind of up there, and trying to trade him might be a little not hard, but you definitely won't get value, which is equivalent to him.
Yeah, especially because DeMar's got such a unique skill set. He's kind of like him and Jimmy Butler are really the final two truly mid-range oriented guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, and DeMar's never been a great defender.
No.
So he's a very niche type of player. It feels like the Bulls are kind of pigeonholed here. You know, Vooch is not a great defender, and he's not the same kind of offensive player as Jokic. So,
they're in a rough spot. It's not pretty. I mean, I think they'd be way better off with Lonzo. So I think that's a bit of a bummer, and I think it sucks really bad because you had someone. I personally, in my opinion, the best off-ball point guard I've ever seen play, aside from Steph.
Really? Wow.
I love Lonzo's off-ball ability. Very solid defender. He's a pest.
Oh, he's great and one of the best playmakers in the league.
Oh, big time. He has
great rebounder.
He's a gifted playmaker. He's an all-around point guard. I was always really fond of the game. It really sucks to see the way he was going down because it looked like he was improving too offensively in many different ways. Obviously, the last 2 years in New Orleans, shot the three-point shot extremely well, 40%.
I think the best part
sucked.
about it too was it's like you know the biggest criticism was you got to fix the shot.
He fixed it.
Yeah, and I think that's for someone to go from it's like this is not a viable guy in the league. He can't shoot. He has no confidence in his shot.
Someone that every team would want.
Yeah, exactly. To becoming like one of the premier point guards, it's pretty impressive. And it's just this is such a weird thing. Like it's like in the NBA, it's kind of like in baseball. You know, pitchers at this point because these dudes are throwing almost 365 from age like 10 all the way to the MLB.
Yeah,
they're getting Tommy John before they even hit the majors. Like if you're a pitcher, you're probably going to get surgery at some point. That's just it's a prerequisite now. NBA, they've been playing travel ball in AAU for so long that their knees just can't handle it. And they get to the league and a lot of dudes quickly tear a meniscus, tear an ACL, ankle stuff, foot stuff. Lonzo, to have something like this where it seems like just this rapid deterioration of his knee. Yeah. That's scary, man. I don't care. That's so scary because it's not like, again, an ACL, it's like, God, that sucks, but it's understandable. and so many guys go through it. I don't think it's as big of a as big
Not
of an issue as
anymore.
it once
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
That was once a career ender.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of
Now
just like,
you can bounce back. Yeah.
yeah, most dudes are gonna have them. It sucks
Yeah.
to say, but so many guys have them, and I really hope that Lonzo can just be like, there could be like a clear, a clear idea of what happened, because this is, I've never seen something like this where it's just like, I mean, he was talking about like he couldn't even walk,
Yeah.
didn't tear his ACL, like the doctors just didn't know what the fuck was wrong.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, so that's crazy to me. But yeah, to see someone kind of fall from grace like that, man, you hate it. You hate it.
Yeah.
We've seen Tracy McGrady deal with that. We saw Brandon Roy
Yeah.
preemptively go down. What was his name in Portland? Um,
And Bowie,
Not him. He was a big man.
Greg Oden.
Greg Oden. He dealt with it. Like so many of these dudes, Yao Ming. It's like they
Yeah.
just their bodies can't take it, and it feels like right before it starts, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over before it even begins. But yeah, man, the Bulls, it's an interesting spot. There's a lot to be desired
Yeah.
for their team in terms of competing for the now. But you know, I think you're right in that it's best to just hit the reset button. Levine still has a ton of value.
Yeah.
DeMar still has some value.
Does.
There will be a team where he's like the number 2, number 3 option.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't see him being much of a competitor right now. It feels like they're kind of just gonna float in the middle. And
Yeah. Playing. I feel like another playing year.
yeah, and maybe not with a team like Orlando on the rise, and a
Hey,
team like the Pistons, depending on Cade's health and all that. Like
Pacers. Yeah. There's a
Pacers look
stuff
way
coming.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
Bulls this past season play-in team, but this are they? I don't know.
Yeah. I
It's
don't
gonna
know.
be
Yeah.
interesting.
That's fair.
Um,
Yeah. East got better.
yeah. So bit of an interesting podcast today. You know, some fun little things, some silly goose things occurred, but you know, not too much going on. Like I've said, it's we're in the calm right now, so it's not a lot going on, but still a lot of unsigned players, so some more stuff to come down the road. But yeah, I guess the next time we record, FIBA will have started. I'm pretty sure, so
Yeah. I
we'll probably
believe
be
so.
able to, yeah. So I'm pretty sure we'll be able to cover some of the games that have gone on, and potentially some more signings. So that's gonna do it for episode. I think you said 6. I think you're right. So yeah, thanks again for coming on. In the Moment Hoops, as always, in the description. They've been posting a lot of stuff there, off-season team stuff, season preview stuff. So go check them out. And yeah, thank you all for coming by. If you like the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. CultureCast. Thank you guys. Peace.